Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives?
5, 6, 7, 8.
Hi, welcome back. This is episode 2 of So Are the Days of Our Lives? I'm your host, Olivia Willis, and we're back with part 2 of the podcast premiere extravaganza featuring the one, the only Meredith Louise Casey. Meredith, welcome back.
Thanks so much, Olivia. I'm so excited to be back.
Peek behind the curtain. Time has passed
14
since
hours.
Our last recording. 14 hours to be exact. So we're new people. And today we are covering Days of Our Lives, season 59, episode 6, which aired on September 4th, 2023. I realized there was a little bit of like podcast housekeeping, what we're doing with all of this, that I maybe covered the last time we recorded, but also maybe I didn't. I would like to get as many of my friends to watch Days of Our Lives as possible. And in an effort to do that, every episode of the podcast, I will be recapping an episode of Days of Our Lives with a different friend.
It's not me, everybody.
Sadly, it's not Meredith every single time. I figured it would be fun, at least towards the beginning, for every episode we're recapping, the person I'm talking with is someone who is not familiar with Days of Our Lives or doesn't have all the context that someone would have if they've been watching it for a long time.
It's an on-ramp of sorts.
Yes, so that you, the listener, you're welcome to watch along. We'll announce in advance what episode we're recapping, which is funny that I say that because I do not know what episode I'll be recapping next. I have not decided yet.
Well, I think I just realized that only 2 seasons are on Peacock.
I know, and that is a bummer. Yeah, seasons 58 and 59 are on Peacock, but you can't like go back to 1965. Could you imagine?
It's not on digital.
It has not been digitized.
You can go to the Lincoln Center Library of Performing Arts, rent it.
So yeah, that's the vibe. Meredith will come back, I'm sure.
I'll insist on it.
Exactly. But this keeps you out of rotation long enough that you'll have surprise. You'll have the element of surprise. So feel free to watch along with the episodes that we're recapping. As we mentioned, all episodes of Days of Our Lives, season 59, are available to stream on Peacock, the greatest streaming service in the world. And I'm not even being sponsored by NBC Universal yet.
Manifestation.
Fingers crossed.
When you are.
When I am sponsored by NBC Universal, I'll let you know. Because that's the dream. Okay, Meredith, we covered sort of my intro baseline questions in our last recording, and none of that information has changed. So the only thing I think I have to ask you before we kick off this recap is, what's your comfort beverage of choice as we record?
My comfort beverage is again a Fisher's Island lemonade. I bought a 4-pack. Fisher's Island lemonade, another sponsor.
Another potential sponsor. I'm about to shout out what I would also love to be a future potential sponsor. My comfort beverage tonight, Olipop cream soda.
Oh my God. You've actually done free advertisement for them on your Instagram so many times.
Love the cream soda in particular is the best thing in the world.
It's good for your gut, right?
And Lord knows I need it.
Yeah, we need that pre and probiotics.
Okay. With that, are we ready to start the recap?
I can't wait. This was a good one. You gave me a good one.
I'm so glad. Okay. What's funny too is that as we talked about in the first episode, the episodes are so segmented. Like the whole episode, Brady's with Belle, Gwen is with, Kristen, Dimitri's with Leah. Like everybody is so isolated. And this episode is no different. This aired 2 days after the last episode we recapped. There's only one character that overlaps in this episode. Like this is an entirely new cast of characters.
Yeah. So I realized immediately, I was like getting so overconfident.
Yeah. It's like, you're not going to see those people again for a couple days. So yeah, buckle in for season 59, episode 6. And as always, we're going to try to find the proper title of ep somewhere in the episode.
My first note of the entire thing is completely new people, triple question mark.
Exactly. Like, sorry, brace yourself. You thought you had a handle on it? Absolutely not.
No, you didn't.
So we begin in Bayview Psychiatric Hospital, which is the psychiatric hospital of Salem, which, you know, every sleepy suburb of Chicago has their own psychiatric hospital, right?
Yeah.
So we're in Bayview where Ava Vitali is being held.
That is mob boss aesthetic.
She is referred to as a mob princess quite a lot.
No way.
She is in the mob.
Okay.
Her dad is like a mob boss, and they call her a mob princess, or a mafia princess, excuse me. And she's a notorious villain. She was reformed for a while. Like she had left her life of crime behind. And then she was tempted back to the dark side by her son, he died. And then she started seeing him, like seeing visions of him. And they like made her do bad things. And so she is responsible for this woman, Susan's death. And she was deemed mentally ill. So that's why she is in Bayview. So she was having visions of her dead son that were like taunting her to kill Susan Banks, basically. And then she drove their car. She was driving with Susan in the back, and she drove their car off a cliff. Mm-hmm. And Susan was, of course, presumed dead. Her body was never found. But now Ava is like being haunted by visions of Susan.
Are there a lot of cliffs in the suburbs of Chicago?
That's a great geographical query and potentially a plot hole we found.
I understand the Midwest to be rather flat.
You know, we're known to have a bluff.
A bluff or two.
Around these parts, you know?
That's right. That's right. I should be more open-minded.
That could be it. So yeah, that is what Ava has going on in Bayview. But my immediate red flag here is that she's got sneakers on the bed.
I wrote that down too.
I don't care that it's a hospital bed. I don't care that they're like hospital issue shoes that have never been outside. I cannot forgive that.
Heads on the bed is what I wrote down.
Heads on the bed.
Heads on the bed. Yeah.
Potential title of ep.
Potential title of ep.
Of all the things she's done, I'm choosing to be most upset about this right now.
It does set us up for like, oh, we just do not exist in reality right now.
And she can't be trusted.
No, that woman is obviously any rocker that she's ever had, she's off of it.
Off it. So in walks this guy, Harris Michaels, who is also a patient at Bayview.
Oh, that's why he was wearing those clothes.
Yes, he was wearing very plain clothes.
Which is not usual.
Yes. His whole thing is that he's been brainwashed into committing murder on multiple occasions. So he's like taking some me time at Bayview. Like he got brainwashed a second time, but then they were able to like get him out of it. And they were like, you didn't actually kill anybody. You're good to go. And he was like, no, I think I need some help. Like, why am I vulnerable to this brainwashing? Because his thing, he was like a Navy SEAL or something. Like he's a military guy, quote unquote.
Oh, okay.
And so he's like, my brain should be able to not be penetrated by this brainwashing.
Right. That's what they teach you in SEAL
in the military.
What in the fucking like Harry Potter close your mind occlumency is that? Like,
I know. I will say they're a very like therapy positive show, but as we're going to see later in the episode, a lot of gray area around the actual science thereof.
We don't need it. We don't need it.
So Harris comes into Ava's room in Bayview. He shares that he's told Dr. Marlena Evans, my queen, who we will meet a little bit later. She's a psychiatrist, I guess, therapist, mental health professional in town.
Got it.
Harris tells Ava that he told Dr. Marlena Evans about Ava's hallucinations of Susan Banks and that Marlena's agreed to treat Ava. But Ava's very reluctant. She claims she just wants to forget Susan ever existed. Dramatic.
Right. And she's like, we can go. Nothing. I'm good. Let's go. I haven't had a vision all day is what she says out loud.
I know. So then we go back to the DeMera Mansion, which we were there a lot last episode. We're going to be there a lot pretty often. A lot of people live there. So it's a tried and true set. we're in the sort of the, I don't know, living room, study, I don't know what you want to call it, living space, where EJ Demera, who is Susan's son and is British, but Susan is not British, just to track that.
Oh, I noted it.
EJ Demera is doing the very normal thing of just staring at a picture frame, sitting alone in a silent room.
And we don't see the photo, right? He's
Correct.
Just
I think we are meant to infer that he is looking at a photo of his mother, because this has been a recurring thing the last couple of episodes. He's being like, he's feeling guilt about his mother's death, not being avenged.
Okay.
So yeah, but we don't actually in this episode see what he's looking at.
Well, I just was picturing the whole time of him just looking at a stock photo of like a family.
Perfect. Like, I love this frame I got from Target.
There's no way that set dresser took the time to be like, I'm going to give you a real prop just so that you can really get into it. They were like, look at this piece of wood.
Yes.
No offense, Tom Early.
Tom Early, our guy.
Never offense, never offense. You're working on a deadline, and the actor's job is to create reality in imaginary circumstances.
Oh, that's so powerful. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so as EJ is looking at this potentially blank picture frame, who should walk in but Susan? Yes, this woman dressed like a Gap clown is Susan Banks.
It is truly horrifying. I literally was like, Chucky has entered the chat.
She's dressed like a cuckoo bananas version of the girl from The Big Comfy Couch.
I was going to say a like bananas version of Wizards of Waverly Place.
It's also giving that with the layers.
And it's like cropped and baggy.
And she's got like a mop of brown hair. She's always wearing like a weird hat. She has big glasses and she has buck teeth,
which are so obviously fake.
But here's the thing. They are so obviously fake because the actress who plays Susan Banks is Kristen Demera.
Squinty McSquinterson.
Yes.
Knew it.
It has always been a conceit on Days of Our Lives that Kristen and Susan Banks are played by the same person. So even when different actresses have played those roles, they're always the same part.
Can you speak more to why? Or is there no why?
I don't know if there's a why. I think it's kind of just a bit. They do this thing where it's like, oh, you look just like that person. So like Kristen could sometimes pretend to be Susan because they look so much alike. It's literal comedy.
It's playing for comedy. Again, we need a live studio audience.
The genre bending of Days of Our Lives knows no bounds.
Because I also need, along with this, the laugh track,
the gasp track.
I want a gasp track. That's what I want.
That's what we need. Honestly, the underscoring is doing such heavy lifting on this show.
Possible title of a gasp track.
The gasp track.
I can't.
That's hard to say. So that's why it's like they're so obviously denture buck teeth because everyone knows it's actually the woman who plays Kristen Demera.
I'm so happy I picked up on that, and I'm so happy immediately I was like, "That's Squinty McSquinterson."
I'm proud of you too, because
you.
I think it took me a minute. Like I was just the first time I encountered Susan Banks, I was like, "What's happening?" And she has a very thick Southern accent going on.
Like it's like a deep Alabama.
Yeah, but she's supposed to be from Memphis, I think, because she's obsessed with Elvis Presley. So EJ is named for Elvis. His first name is Elvis.
Elvis Johnson?
No, I think maybe her husband's name is Elvis, and then EJ's Elvis Jr.
I can't.
I know. We actually should just move past it. Also, side note, did you notice there's like a weird audio glitch right in the moment in the episode when Susan comes in? There's like static before the underscoring comes in. And I'm like, what happened here? Like,
I didn't. I did. I wrote this down. I remember writing this down for later in the episode that there are a few like strange bumps in the background that you're like, oh, a PA just tripped on something.
And we did not have time to go in and get another take.
Or there's some people who just so obviously like mispronounced a very common word, which we all do all the time.
Yep.
But then it was just like you can see the look in their eyes of like, I either go back or I just power through.
And we need to move on.
Yeah, all of them power through.
It's amazing. But yeah, so I just sidebar was like, classic high quality work here, Days of Our Lives crew. So EJ's stunned and his mother runs into his arms, but then she accuses him of not really caring that she's gone since he's just snuggled up on the couch. Smash cut to EJ waking up and realizing it was a dream. It is the loudest, like, like.
I did notice that. I was like, we got it. Thanks.
Thank you. I get it.
It sounds like the Foley artist like is on set.
Truly, just like banging pots and pans
together.
So yes, EJ is awoken from his cruel dream. Now, my aforementioned queen, Marlena Evans, she is a woman of a certain age. She has luscious, like that kind of blonde that's like almost gray, like blowout blondish gray hair. I love her.
Still so beautifully age appropriate.
Yes.
Not that is a real term. Age is a number and your appropriateness is not determined by your age, but it is just so beautifully like that woman is so confident in her skin.
She's stunning. And she's been on the show for so long. Yeah, I just love her.
Her makeup is flawless. A lot of the younger ones could take
note.
That says the two girls who haven't worn makeup in 5 days.
Yeah, we have a lot of room to talk. So Marlena Evans sits at the pub with her husband, John Black, and his bestie / private detective partner, Steve Johnson, Eye Patch King. Yes, indeed. Where's an eye patch?
Steve Johnson is the eye patch guy.
Steve Johnson is the eye patch guy. And he wears an eye patch every episode. The actor does not wear an eye patch, but Steve Johnson sure does. I do not know what happened to his eye.
We never hear about it.
I mean, I think it happened on the show. Like, I think it was an event.
One would hope.
But he didn't just start with it. But I'll do a deep dive into old Steve Johnson and we'll get the origin story of the eye patch. That's another one of my things with this show. There's some things that I need to know every detail about. And then there's some things that I'm just like, that's not for me to know. Did you find out what happened?
No, but there is a syndrome called Steven Johnson syndrome, which leads to inflammation, light sensitivity, redness, and painful ulcers in the eyes.
Is it named after the Days of Our Lives character? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to do a deep dive on that.
Yeah, that's definitely a bonus episode.
Okay, so Marlena sits down with John and Steve. She explains that she needs their help in a private detective capacity. They are a team called Black Patch because John's last name is Black and Steve has an eye patch. So Marlena needs their help. She explains that she has a patient, a man in his 90s who is found wandering on the side of the road, but he has no clue of his own identity, which is pretty run-of-the-mill for Salem.
People lose their identities?
Yeah, John throws in a cheeky like, huh, been there. Like people have amnesia, people have head injuries, people don't know who they are. There's literally another character, the former mayor, Abe Carver, who I'll get to in future episodes. I love him. Uh-huh. He is currently suffering from amnesia. So yeah, John's like, LOL, been there. Not our first rodeo with amnesia in Salem. So Marlena wants Black Patch to find out who the John Doe is and who his long lost son is, who he says he's looking for. He had a dream that he had a son out there somewhere and just set out walking. His only memories are of a farm and he remembers lots of fighting. And then John uses those detective skills and is like, no, I'm just guessing. John's got a very raspy voice, by the way. That is why I'm doing that. That's not a character choice on my part. He's like, I'm just guessing, but maybe that means he was fighting in a war somewhere. Could be.
My note said hot grandpa and hot grandma and a guy with an eye patch sit at the bar.
That's so funny that you say hot grandpa because I can't.
Botox and you can tell.
Botox and you can tell. I can't look at John like the actor who plays him like currently and be like hot. When I see pictures, maybe I'll post a picture of younger John Black, younger Drake. I can't remember his last name. His last name is like Haugestein or something.
Oh God.
He was a babe.
Whole snack.
Absolutely.
And then I said, okay, so it does smash cut to this man who's at the hospital that we're speaking of.
Yes.
My note goes, Gandalf? Question mark.
Meredith, it's Dick Van Dyke.
That's who it is.
You didn't recognize that it's Dick Van Dyke.
Well, I quite literally was like, who is this man? I know he's an actor.
Meredith, that's so funny.
Actually,
yes.
That's very embarrassing as an old Hollywood movie lover.
That's hilarious. Also, I mean, to be fair, he's like 99 years old.
Looks great for 99. But literally, I was like, why do I recognize this man? Did he play Gandalf?
That's so funny.
No, that's fucking Ian McKellen. Oh, that's upsetting for me. Cut this out.
Do you want me to?
No, I don't care.
So yes, surprise, surprise, our John Doe is waiting at the hospital. And yes, he is Dick Van Dyke. I'm so curious if this was like a bucket list gig for him or if he like needed the job.
That's a good question.
Why? Because he does like a 2-week arc.
He also has a very young wife.
He does have a very young wife who did a cameo in the first episode Dick Van Dyke as this John Doe was featured in. She did a cameo as like the police officer that brought him to the hospital. And he kept being like, boy, you're beautiful. Gosh, you're gorgeous. And I'm like, I really hope this is a cameo of his real life wife. And I looked it up and it was. Like, the whole thing was like, man, she's a looker. And I'm like, Jesus
That's
Christ.
Disgusting, Dick Van Dyke. I just get the sense that he's like I was born to perform, I'll do anything kind of guy. And also he probably was just like, not doing anything else.
Sounds fun. That is so true. God, respect. So yes, regardless of whether Dick Van Dyke just needed the job or not, this John Doe, I'm going to keep calling him Dick Van Dyke instead of John Doe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, great. So Dick Van Dyke meets Julie Horton. She's an iconic Days of Our Lives character. This woman, this actress, has played Julie Horton since like season 2 of Days of Our Lives. Yes.
Was she a child?
She was probably like 18, yeah. But she's also up there in age.
She looks great.
I know, she does look great. And she's incredible. I love her scenes. She's at the hospital. She meets Dick Van Dyke. She goes,
Dick Van Dyke, why are you at this hospital?
Dick Van Dyke. Yes. Julie says she's there with her husband, Doug, because he stubbed his toe. LOL. And that's what happens when you get older.
I thought she was lying. Like, I thought she was like going to have like some mischievous reason to be there. Because I was like, that's an insane reason to be at a hospital.
No, she wanted to take him to the hospital to make sure the toe wasn't broken. They, have struck up a conversation and Julie asks Dick Van Dyke his name, which of course he doesn't know. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then we go sweeping orchestral music like sands through the hourglass. So are the days of our lives. Da, 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 da. Thank you. After the title, we cut back to Dick Van Dyke wrapping up his tragic story because why waste the airtime?
May I just say, there are 2 words going to be uttered in this moment that are memory loss. These people cannot say amnesia. I think it is not in their contract.
They're like, because we don't know what happened to him, we're going to keep it general.
They all say memory loss.
I have memory loss written down in my notes a lot.
She goes, oh, I'm so sorry you're suffering from memory loss. That's her first line.
Yep.
It was like, who says that?
Because I also like imagining the part of the scene we didn't get to see. So it's like
with him going, I'm suffering from memory loss.
And her going, I'm so sorry you're suffering from memory loss. So yes, he explains that the doctors think he had a head injury that contributed to his memory loss. Drink.
Drink on memory loss, listeners.
Julie mentions that he reminds her of her uncle Tommy, who was a Korean War veteran who also had memory loss. Drink.
It's not amnesia, it's memory loss.
After he, quote, had to get a whole new face.
Yeah. What?
Unfazed.
What's the issue?
I just love, yeah, she's like, my Uncle Tommy, he was in Korea. He had memory loss. He had a whole new
You had to
face.
get a new face. Yeah, of course. And then my note is, okay, so he's obviously Uncle Tommy.
Right. And Dick Van Dyke, he perks up and he's like, maybe I could be your Uncle Tommy. Alrighty, now we have a quick scene. Oh, so we have two characters that overlap this episode. Xander, our Scottish king.
Yes.
Xander's at home alone, just, very casually throwing darts as one does, when EJ DeMera shows up at his door with a gun aimed at Xander.
Whoa!
Furious drumbeat underscoring to take us to commercial. It's truly like, do, 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 do. And that's the whole scene. The whole scene is Xander opening the door and EJ has a gun pointed on him.
I bet they did it in one take.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
They're professionals. Alrighty, and then we cut over to our other friend who we met in the last episode, Brady Black. He is at his door with Theresa Donovan, this petite, blonde, big-eyed lady who is an ex of his and the mother of his other child, Tate, who I've never seen. I've been watching this show for 4 years, and I'm not 100% sure I knew he had a kid other than Rachel, the one who loves the fish sticks, who he has with Kristen. Like, we do not talk about this kid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Theresa lives, I think, in California with this kid. She bursts in all hunky-dory, and then I wrote, who is hunky-dory?
That's good.
Brady's taken aback that she's in Salem. And then Teresa's like, obviously, I'm here for Victor's funeral. He's our son's great-grandfather, which I thought was a great reason to come to a funeral.
He's our son's great-grandfather.
But no, she didn't bring their son because he had school.
I forgot.
The logic isn't quite all there.
At school, he's alone. I left him in California.
He is the person with a familial connection to the deceased, but he should not be here. He's a child.
I also need to say this because
Yes,
this was the most egregious part of this episode for me, is that she walks into this apartment under the conceit that she has just gotten off a plane, and she is in a skin-tight cherry red bandage dress, mini size.
Mini bandage, yep.
With stilettos on.
That's 100% true.
And one clutch purse. And she walks through the door and she goes, oh, flights these days. Like, in what world did you just get off a flight?
Yep.
If I saw you on a flight, I would go, that woman is not real.
She is not real. Up to something. Air Marshal. That's so true.
I would be kicked off the plane. It was truly that was the most egregious moment of now guys.
Yeah.
We couldn't give the woman a pair of leggings.
A legging, a sneaker.
A roller bag.
I have the feeling that's not her vibe.
Just the fact that she walked into a room going, ugh, flights these days in stilettos.
Yes, that's true. And the clutch really does send me. It is fun too, because this is, in my 4 years of watching Days of Our Lives, this is the first time I'm encountering Theresa Donovan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, she has not been on the show in a very long time. Brady's like, why are you here? And she's like, it's the funeral of our son's great-grandfather. But I didn't bring our son. And then she reminds Brady that even though she and Victor weren't always close, they reconciled before she left town with El Fideo, who is obviously a drug lord.
I sort of assumed. But then they were also like, when I escaped into Mexico with El Fideo, I was like, it can be one of two things.
That's exactly right. And you are using the context clue crumbs that the writers leave you every episode. We do get a flashback.
Sepia tone.
Swish, sepia tone to, it must have been 2016, I think, based on what I saw online. She is sobbing in a way that we will continue to see throughout this episode.
In a, my face is so wet.
Yeah, I think of it as classic soap acting. She's so beautiful, but she's crying so hard.
It's because they're taking eyedroppers of saline.
Yeah, that is it. It is wet face acting. So yes, this is a flashback of Theresa with Victor. She's sobbing. Victor tells her he's proud of her and that he'll always consider her a part of the Kyriakis family. But because he is a proud Greek man, that's why everybody goes to Greece, is because John Aniston was Greek. And so the character Victor Kyriakis is Greek, and he pronounces it Kyriakis.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. So we have that tender moment with Victor and Theresa. Back in the present, I wrote buckle in because we're kicking off a thick segment of exposition. Theresa reminds Brady that when she escaped from Mexico, Victor wanted her and Brady to get back together. He counters that it's only because he hated her sister, Eve, more than anything. So, like, Theresa left for Mexico with El Fideo. Brady didn't know what was going on. Theresa was like doing an undercover mission, but Brady didn't know about it. So then he started dating her sister, Eve.
Yeah, as you do.
As one does. And Victor apparently hated Eve way more than he hated anything. So when Theresa came back, of course, he would rather Brady be with Theresa than Eve.
Yeah.
Obviously. And he implies that Victor encouraged Theresa and Xander to keep quiet about leaving Chloe stranded in Mexico with El Fideo. Did you follow me?
Xander and Chloe,
who are currently engaged.
Yes. Purple girl.
Purple girl. Their original encounter was that, like, I don't know how Chloe ended up in Mexico with all of them, but like Xander was the bad guy. And Xander and Theresa left Chloe stranded in Mexico to die.
Oh, yeah. And when that happens, that's when you're like, I found the one.
Absolutely. Like, someday we're going to get married. So yeah, they're doing a lot of exposition here. And Theresa goes full petulant teen. She's like, what do you mean? That was not my fault. Like, that was all Xander. And she's like, Xander's the reason the two of us aren't together, and I'll always hate him for that.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil.
Ooh.
Xander's backing away from EJ's gun. EJ tells him it's about time he avenged his mother's murder. And Xander's like, Ava's the one who drove Susan off that cliff. If anyone deserves to be killed over it, it's her. And then that's when EJ dramatically turns the handle of the gun towards Xander, saying, that's exactly what I want you to do.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then he's like, it's about justice, redemption. And he's British, and I wrote, it is seriously giving Scar in The Lion King.
Ooh, wow.
It's very Scar vibes.
Yeah. So Xander is known, you think you've been over this, but Xander is known in the population as a villainous man.
He's a villainous man. He's a ne'er-do-well. He'll get rid of somebody for you.
Got
if
it.
You need him to.
Quote upon quote.
Quote unquote. So then EJ writes a number on a handy dandy notepad and asks, do all those zeros alleviate your concern? And I'm just like, why do we do this? Tell me the amount. Tell me the amount of money he's offering him.
Wait, but also he couldn't rip the paper. He couldn't do it. Like, he wrote it on this obvious, like, of course everybody just has like a random, pad lying around. And then he couldn't rip it, and the pad came up with him, and you could tell the actor was just more frustrated than anything and just was like,
that's so funny. I didn't notice that.
And my immediate thought was like, he just wrote a bunch of zeros. In a row.
Yep.
Can you imagine that? That's like kind of such a power move of being like, is that enough zeros for you? And you just wrote down like 15 zeros.
Just own up to how much money you're offering and say it out loud. Say it with your chest.
It's so strange. It's such a strange device that so many movies use. And it requires people to have pads of paper around.
And that's the thing. You got to have a handy dandy notebook.
And a pen.
I'll say it's a good cliffhanger for the end of the scene. Okay, so we go back to Bayview. Ava's telling Harris exactly what you were talking about earlier. She hasn't had a vision of Susan that day, so maybe it's done. But then Susan sneaks up behind her and creepily whispers in her ear that she needs to tell the truth about the accident.
I screamed out loud.
It is a good jump scare. And then, of course, we get another like shot, like another perspective of Harris watching Ava argue with Susan, but it's thin air. That she's like, I don't know what you mean. And Harris is like, uh-oh, here we go. So suddenly the vision of Susan disappears, and Harris insists that Ava needs to talk to Dr. Evans. And Ava looks over her shoulder to the spot where Susan was standing, and then she wraps her cardigan really tightly around herself, which is the international signal for emotional distress.
We learned this in acting school.
Absolutely. I think she's doing great work.
Excellent work.
Meanwhile, John is assuring Marlena that if they follow the military lead for their John Doe, they could search the military database for his fingerprints. And I'm just like, could you?
But also, why has no one run his prints yet?
Yeah, like
in any database.
Right.
It doesn't have to just be the military one.
But apparently we needed Black Patch for this. So in the middle of this, whatever, strategy sesh, Marlena gets a phone call from Harris, which I'm like, why does he, a patient at Bayview, have a direct line to her cell phone?
Have a cell phone at all.
That's true. I guess he's in like the low security section. But like, he's just like, hey, Marlena, girl, what's up?
Bro, I was not allowed to have a hairbrush. What the fuck is this shit?
So yeah, she takes the call. Harris asks her to come to Bayview right away. But luckily, Black Patch is on the case for Dick Van Dyke. And I do want everyone to know Black Patch is on the case is a direct quote from the episode. Okay, so Dick Van Dyke, of course, is still in the waiting area of the hospital with Julie. She assures him that he can't be her Uncle Tommy, because Uncle Tommy died several years ago, sadly. Dick Van Dyke mentions that he's on the search for his son, who he's never met, but he has a feeling that he's nearby, which is absolutely delusional, and I love it.
It is the craziest.
He's following vibes.
Yeah, we all just need to follow the vibes.
Follow the vibes, and you will find your son. So Julie thinks that if he finds his son will be able to put together all the blanks in his memory, which is absolutely incorrect because famously he's never met this son before.
He said, I woke up and was like, I think I have a son.
I'm going to go look for him. Yeah. So I'm so sorry, Julie. I love you and I respect you, but that was the dumbest idea anyone could have ever had. Okay. So now Julie introduces sweet baby angel Doug to Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
They have a little argument about how he's like, I don't need this wheelchair. And she's like, well, you can dance the shim sham when we get home.
Yes, because you know all old people dance the shim
Dance
sham.
the shim sham. Fun fact, these two married in real life.
I was gonna ask.
Met on the show, married in real life, and he very sadly recently passed away.
Oh.
The actor's name is Bill Hayes, and yeah, he sadly passed away in January.
Actually in a wheelchair in real life.
I think it's that thing. They do that with a lot of the much older people because he was 98 when he died. So like, I mean, I assume they filmed this like last year, but yeah, he was very old, and they'll do that thing where they're just like, let him sit down. Like they don't need to be walking around.
They also claim to have been married for over 50 years, which I feel like
is true.
Yeah, that's
I know.
amazing.
I know. I love that.
I also love that Dick Van Dyke, when they do say that to Dick Van Dyke, he goes, that's rare for these days. And I was like, what? Are we making a comment about the state of marriage?
We sure are. Now is the time for that. So Doug asks Dick Van Dyke if he's married, and it dawned, oh yeah. So he's like, we've been married for 50 years, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So Doug asks Dick Van Dyke if he's married, and it dawns on him that he is. He doesn't remember anything about her, but he can picture her face. And I'm like, incredible. Doug tries to relate to Dick Van Dyke's memory loss. Drink. But it's like he does it in a real Salem one-up kind of way. Like Doug's like, I had trouble with my memory once. Turns out I was being possessed by the devil. And Dick Van Dyke is like super unfazed. He's just like, well, that's one I've not heard before.
I was jaw on the floor. Really tough for me.
So fret not, because Mission Exposition is not over with Brady and Theresa. We're diving back into that. I wanted us to take a little break, but we're diving back in. Theresa admits that her dishonesty was what hurt their relationship. And then Brady's like, yeah, and then you sued for full custody of our son Tate, which made Victor turn on you again. And then Theresa starts to put the teary-eyed moves on him, the wet eye moves.
She's like, I think we should give it another shot. She goes, isn't that a good idea? And he goes, that's not a good idea. It's a bad idea.
I have that written down. It's not a good idea. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. And I'm like, okay, Olivia Rodrigo stands. No, but that happens after. So before that, she tries to put the teary-eyed moves on him. And she's like, we're so good together. We could be good together again. And then she makes out with him. And they make out for like a while, seconds.
Yeah, she sucks his face.
And then that's when Brady pulls away. And he's like, it's not a good idea. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
Bad idea.
Perfect. And Teresa's like, why couldn't we be together? You're single. You're not with Chloe or Kristen anymore. Thank you for the mini exposition. She's like, why not give it a shot? And then he's like, don't you remember how toxic we were at times?
He also goes like this. He goes, don't you remember how toxic we were at times? Like, he is not landing the plane. He is like, not launching the ship.
At times is such a great way to end that sentence. And then she's like, but what about the makeshift wedding we had? That was the most romantic night of my life.
Makeshift wedding we had in our bedroom?
That sounds like a euphemism.
Yeah, but also I'm like, were there other people there? Like,
there were not. I mean, we'll get a flashback to it at the end of the episode, but there were not other people there. She's like, I know it wasn't legal, but it was so romantic. Brady very dramatically tells her he doesn't want to go down that road again. Not ever. So Theresa finally leaves, doing a beautiful cry.
The wettest cry you've ever seen.
And then I did laugh here because when she closes the door, it bounces back in that way that like a plywood set door does in a community theater production. So Brady's like gazing off, absolutely giving face acting about being like conflicted. And behind him, the door is like banging and wobbling.
In that terrible plywood way where it's like, it goes like back and
the
forth.
More you try to stop it, the worse it gets.
The worse it gets. You just have to let it like deal with itself.
You have to let it settle. So yeah, the door settles behind Brady while he's trying to act. Okay, so John and Steve, aka Black Patch, decide to search for a VA hospital within a 30-mile radius of Salem. Brilliant. They go to meet with this man who I guess we're supposed to assume runs this VA center, but like couldn't tell you, not a doctor. But so this guy, he confirms that they've been treating Dick Van Dyke, aka their John Doe, for a few months. His name is Joseph Bell. They, at this VA facility, I guess, agree that they think his memory loss stems from a wartime head injury, but they have no other information about his history. He's been in the system for decades, but every new place that treats him has to start from scratch with his identity. And then he gives an incredible line. His entire life history is locked up somewhere in his brain. We just don't know how to reach it. And if that's not a powerful commentary on memory loss, drink. I don't know what is. So then John very raspily asks this Mr. Dugan guy what else he can share with them. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we don't have much, but I can give you this file of publicly available information.
You know like, how you have it on a file?
Cool. On your desk.
You know how you just, have a manila folder full of all publicly available information?
Yes. So he's like, I have this hard copy of all publicly available documents, and I have his dog tags. And then he passes them over, and then he's super casually like, I got to run down the hall. I'll be right back.
It's so strange.
So he leaves his own office so that John and Steve can be alone.
You guys might need some time. I get it.
Yeah. And so John's going through the file. He confirms that Mr. Bell served in Korea. And then the haunting underscore sting kicks in.
Yeah.
Because something has caught John's attention. And he just goes, oh my God, I can't believe this.
Yep. On the first page of the manila envelope.
Absolutely. Yeah. The first thing you see. So yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe this. That's the cliffhanger that takes us out of that scene. Love it.
It's beautiful.
So now at Bayview, Marlena joins Ava and Harris.
They open this scene with the craziest fade up. It is centered on a tissue box. and it fades into the whole room like a la Looney Tunes. Like,
how did I not notice that?
And I was just like, is something gonna happen with this tissue box? Like, I was like, it is just center screen. And I was like, this is the strangest. I literally was like, what's happening with the tissue box? It's the first thing you see. It's like
the whole scene, you're like,
tissue box out from this tissue box.
So yeah, spoiler alert, absolutely nothing is going to happen with the tissue box.
It never returns.
So Marlena thinks that there could be something about the night of the accident that's buried in Ava's subconscious. So you know what that means. Hypnosis time.
I didn't know what that meant, but now I do.
So for those unfamiliar with Marlena Evans' particular brand of psychiatry, she does practice hypnosis very often. But what I will say is that her technique of hypnosis is that she does just have people close their eyes and take deep breaths, and then she asks them questions, and apparently they're hypnotized. They remember. It is amazing.
I think I need her in my life. Like, I think I need that. I think that would fix me.
It's obviously not something you could just do on your own in a quiet room.
Never. Actually, I need someone to just tell me I'm hypnotized.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, you're under. And they're like, oh my God, I remember everything. And she's
oh
like,
my God, thank God.
And she's like, I'm going to take you out of it now. So that's what she's about to do with Ava. She has Ava close her eyes. She asks Ava to recall the events of the night of the accident, right before the car went off the road. Cue the flashback. Ava remembers driving down the dark, windy road. EJ's chasing after them. So basically, Ava was mad at EJ about something I can't remember. Oh, it was like Demera business. It all goes back to the Demera shares.
The board meeting.
Ava was pissed. She was seeing visions of her dead son, telling her to like be evil again. So Ava decided to kidnap Susan and like hold her hostage until EJ gave her shares of Demera. So she's driving off with Susan. EJ's chasing them. She's got a gun, and Susan's wailing from the backseat about how she lost her lucky hat or something.
Yeah, it is a very weird thing, especially now that I know that we're in a hostage situation.
Absolutely.
That you would be worried about your
lucky hat. Come on, you need luck in that moment.
That's true.
So then Ava remembers that Charlie was there, her dead son who was tormenting her from beyond the grave. She's like, I didn't know what to do, but then Charlie told me what to do next. So then we're back in the flashback. Ava steers off the road, and there's like an absolutely comical scream from Susan as they careen off the cliff. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to blast someone's eardrums. But yeah, they careen off the cliff. Ava remembers making it out of the car, quote, before it hit. And I'm like, the ground?
Yeah, hit what?
You made it out of the car before it hit the ground? So hit what is my big question in this scene. And then, of course, Marlena's just like, what happened next? Where was Susan after the crash? Dun, dun, dun.
In the car.
So back at Xander's, he crumples up the paper from EJ's offer, and he swears that he feels awful about the part he played in what happened to Susan. It haunts him. So basically what happened was Ava hired Xander to kidnap Susan.
Heard.
That was his part in it.
Got it. Doesn't seem like he did a very good job.
EJ like really growls back. He's like, then do something about it now. Like, it's
these men are going to have notes. Just letting everyone know.
I hope they are on it with their vocal health. EJ's like, I won't be able to rest easy until I avenge my mother's death. And he wants Xander to do it because he says he owes it to Susan. And Xander's like, no, you just want to set me up. Like, you want me to kill Ava so that then you can point the finger at me for killing Ava and then I end up in jail. And then EJ leaves with a very ominous threat that it's time for both of them to pay. And Xander looks rattled. He is shaken to the bone.
We haven't seen Xander be quite shook, even though when there was a man in his house.
No, he was confused then, but he is shook now. We're in the home stretch of this episode, so everybody just buckle in.
Yeah, buckle right up, guys.
So now we're at the hospital. Dick Van Dyke and Julie and Doug are, the only way I could imagine saying this is bonding over being elderly.
That's disrespectful.
What else am I supposed to say? They're like, I remember the good old days.
Over things they like together, not being elderly.
I'm sorry. You're right. I'll take it back. Okay. So Julie and Doug and Dick Van Dyke are bonding over memories that Dick Van Dyke doesn't have because of hashtag memory loss. Drink. They're talking about, their years in Salem. Julie's like, we used to run a club together and Doug sang at the club. And Dick Van Dyke is like, I used to love that music on the radio, like the Gershwins and Irving Berlin and Cole Porter. So yeah, that's why I was like, they're bonding over being elderly, is because they're like, remember when Irving Berlin was on the radio?
Do you remember the Brothers Gershwin?
Yes. So naturally in this moment, Doug breaks into song. He's like, see if you remember this one, Mr. Memory Loss.
I'll do the pickups if you do lyrics.
Well, this is
a real line.
They start to sing, and I guess the healing power of music starts jogging Dick Van Dyke's memory. He goes, I used to dance with my wife. Do you mind if I dance with your wife? Like, it is. This section is the clunkiest of the entire episode because clearly they were like, we want Dick Van Dyke to sing and dance. How do we get him to do that?
We must do it in a hospital lobby.
Uh-huh. So yeah, they go into Tea for Two,
yes.
The iconic, I would assume, public domain song. Dick Van Dyke and Julie are dancing. Doug is singing along and he's like miming a little teacup. It's so funny.
It's very sweet, but it goes on for about 30 seconds too long.
Goes on for so long.
They do the whole song.
They do the whole song.
To a not choreographed, like, that Dick Van Dyke is like, I'm leading, you're following.
Yes. At one point, Julie like really busts out a sick grapevine. It's wild. All the extras, like the doctors and nurses are in the background. Like those background actors are just like,
yes.
What a fun day at the hospital. And Julie like spins Doug around in his wheelchair and they do like a little kick line.
Yeah.
And then like Doug busts out the jazz hands. And yeah, it's so long. They finally finish their song. They all due respect, look a little out of breath.
Well, yeah.
And I'm like, why did we need to do the whole song?
Those poor people. Have they not proven enough to you?
And at the end, Doug is like, oh, we did it. We did it. Like, he literally says that. So they just like thank each other for the good time. And Julie's like, I hope you find your son. And luckily, Dick Van Dyke has a hunch he's going to get some answers pretty soon. This guy is tapped into the vibes of the universe.
He is an oracle.
Absolutely. So right on cue, we cut back to John and Steve with Joseph Bell, aka Dick Van Dyke's file. So John has discovered that Joseph Bell served in the same unit in the Korean War as John's biological father, who he's never known. And I'll admit that up to this point, watching it 4 years in, I didn't realize that John had a mystery biological father that he never knew.
I do feel like maybe he didn't until now.
No, because here's the thing. We're about to get a lot of exposition that proves this has been a long-running plotline on this show. So John previously had a run-in with Timothy Robichaux, aka Yo Ling.
Yeah, that lost me.
He really breezed past that. So that was a man who was claiming to be John's father.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So there was this guy, he came into town. I don't remember what year this happened. I probably should know since I'm hosting a podcast about it. But yeah, he like comes into town. He's like, I'm Timothy Robichaux. I'm your father. And then they find out he's actually this white man named Yo Ling.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Why?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. So this guy, Yo Ling, claimed to be Timothy Robichaux, but he was a fraud.
What?
I'm stunned.
A white man who named himself Yo Ling?
After that, John says he tried to find his real father, but he came up empty. And Steve's just like, well, that is a coincidence.
Thank you, Steve.
And I'm like, you should lose your license to practice private detection. It's not going to be covered in this episode. This is truly Steve going, well, that's a coincidence, is the end of this storyline for this episode. But I'm not sure that I'm going to recap another episode within this Dick Van Dyke arc. So I will go ahead and spoil that Dick Van Dyke is indeed John's long-lost father, Timothy Robichaux.
Uncle Tommy?
Uncle Tommy is dead. Uncle Tommy is a separate man.
Why did he recognize Uncle Tommy?
No, he didn't. He was like, maybe I'm Uncle Tommy.
Oh, I thought that was like a foreshadowing.
No, Julie was just like, I knew a man with memory loss. And Dick Van Dyke was like, I have memory loss. I could be that man. Correct. Yes.
So he is indeed.
He is named Timothy Robichaux, but we find out that like Yo Ling switched their dog tags. So Yo Ling's real name is Joseph Bell.
Oh, I see.
Yo Ling's real name was Joseph Bell, and he like deserted in the Korean War. And when Dick Van Dyke was injured, Joseph Bell, aka Yo Ling, switched their dog tags. So Yo Ling took off with the Timothy Robichaux dog tag.
Oh.
Dick Van Dyke is actually Timothy Robichaux. So that's what we find out. And then it's a happily ever after for them, but that happens in a couple episodes. So
okay.
You're welcome. We're going to go back to Brady. He needs a Perrier to take the edge off.
They have ripped the label off of this very identifiable bottle.
And he does start talking to himself in a concerning way. He goes, Theresa's crazy.
Oh my God, it was so frightening.
We're not right for each other. Never have been. But he can't resist the power of a flashback. The flashback starts. He remembers their little makeshift wedding ceremony in a bedroom decked out with the most fairy lights I've ever seen. She's giving like little flower child. She has like daisies in her hair. They pledge to be unlawfully wedded. Ha 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 ha. And she's crying in the exact same way that she was crying in the scenes in this episode. Like this is clearly her thing. Wet face acting. Tears. I love it. I just think that's talent, you know? So they kiss, blah, blah, blah. It's cute. And then we come back to the present. Theresa is sobbing on a bench outside.
Yes, it's the wettest her face has ever been.
This is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the wettest. She's at a 10.
I have never, ever cried quite that hard in my life. And I've had some doozies.
Just sobbed.
Just totally. The freaking makeup artist took a Windex bottle of water to her face.
So yeah, she's sobbing and she's staring at a picture on her phone of the two of them together. That is, they'll do this sometimes where they'll have a prop phone and they'll have a picture of two of the characters, but it's clearly like a picture of two of the actors that just like happens to exist. So it like is them younger. It is a picture that was taken years ago.
Oh, that they just like probably took themselves?
Yeah. Or was like a press thing maybe. I don't know.
Right.
How would you describe what Brady in particular looks like in this picture?
Lance Bass.
Yes, it's giving B team 98 degrees. And she's like sitting on his lap kind of.
Yes.
And she looks like a Mrs. America pageant
in the 90s,
winner.
Though.
In the
like,
90s.
Like
yes.
With the tan for a million
It
goddesses.
Is such a funny, I do have a screen grab of it. I will be posting it. It is such a funny picture. So yeah, she's sitting there boohooing at this ridiculous picture. And who should walk up but Xander?
Which, do they live in the same building?
No, but it's allegedly a small town. So she was like on her way back to the hotel and stopped to cry.
Outside. Oh, she's outside the pub.
She's outside.
She's outside. I for some reason in my brain, I'm remembering her like in a hallway.
No,
I
she's
remember
outside.
Being like, why are you here?
She's outside. So they're going to have it out in a future episode.
Mm.
EJ's strolling through a park and makes a phone call. I've got a job for you. And I thought it was going to end there, but then he does spell it out. I need you to kill Ava Vitali. And I'm like, oh, great. Thank you. Got it. I assumed that's what you were doing. I assumed you were on your backup hitman for this phone call. But speaking of Ava, back at Bayview, Harris comes back after Ava's hypnosis session. And Ava's like, I didn't remember anything. Bummer. And Marlena leaves. And then after she's gone, Ava reveals that she was lying to Marlena, which I hate because no one should ever lie to Marlena.
Marlena is our queen?
Yes.
She is our queen, everyone.
She lied to Marlena. She remembers everything now. Susan Banks is alive.
Bum, 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 bum.
End of episode.
End
Yay.
Wow.
Meredith.
This was a ride.
Wasn't this a ride?
From buck teeth to biological dads.
Okay, alliteration.
Look at that. I was taken on a ride, as I always am, or I have been twice now. And I just think there's just no notes.
No notes. Perfection.
No notes. I just think everybody is performing at the top of their game, including every single member of the design team. Like, they all understand the mission.
Absolutely. And the mission is like camp realness.
It's executed to perfection.
I love it.
They've had 59 years to get it right, and they do.
What do you think? I think the episode title might be #memory loss.
I think that has to be it.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So yeah, typically this would be the moment in the episode where I would say, here's the episode. I'll be recapping next time, and here's the guest I'm going to have, blah, blah, blah. I do not have that information for you because...
Let's focus on getting these two out.
Exactly. So just watch this space. I'll post on Instagram what the next episode will be and when you should be expecting it. And gosh, I hope you've had a good time. Meredith,
certainly have.
Any last words? I shouldn't say any last words.
No, that's not in this context. Like sands through an hourglass.
So are the days of our lives. Crazy. Thanks so much for listening. I don't know. Be great. Watch out for hypnosis.
Stay Salem, everybody.
I don't know. I'll have to find my send-off line. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.